Okay, hopefully that didn't take you too long to go ahead and put the bubbles on all the parts. It looks like I missed one there on one of my fasteners, so let me just go ahead and pop one in there real quick and finish that out so it looks complete. Now, as we're moving on here, I'm now ready to create the next sheet. So this will be sheet number 1. Sheet number 2 would be everything involving part number 1, in this case the top plate. If I come down to my tabs at the bottom of my screen, it'll say sheet 1. I'm going to go in and right click on that and then hit copy. And then copy the whole sheet. And when I do that, it's been copied. I need to then go back in and then paste the sheet right back in. When I hit paste, it's going to say, okay, do you want to put this before the sheet that you started with or after? And I want to put this after. So now I have sheet 1 and sheet 1 in 2 in parentheses. At this point, I probably really want to go in and do some editing. And that looks like I'm having a little bit of a screen issue here on my views. And that's okay. Let me see if we can clear that up just a little bit. Here, probably because of the way I did. Let's do here. And let's do an add a sheet to that. And it's now add a sheet gives me a plane, so it's not letting me do redundant views. So sheet 1 is my tile sheet. Sheet 3 in this case, because of the way I did it, is going to be the first sheet. So let's do a rename. So let's take and rename sheet 1 to assembly, and I'm going to label that in there. Sheet 3 in this case, we're going to rename to sheet 1, and I'm just going to put top plate. That way I know what's on there. Okay, so now I have my assembly sheet, and my sheet number 1 is the top plate, and you can edit that as what you need it to be. But you can now go into the properties on these tabs, and you can do mix it all up with the scale can change and everything. So we do want to make sure we stay in that 3rd angle projection though. So let's go into sheet 1, and we notice that there's nothing with the assembly there. If I go over to my palette, I still have some views. Now, I don't want to use the assembly. I've used the assembly already. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to change that to my top plate. And I'm going to use just the parts of the top plate. Well, if I'm doing a drawing, I know that I need to have a top view. And I look at the scale on that, I say that might need to be a little bit better. So let's maybe go 1:1 on that, because that'll probably fit on my drawing. So there's my projected down. This is the front view of that. And this would be, let's pull it off. And something's gone amiss here. Let's go back and see what happened to my projections here, because it looks like my sheet flipped its view. Let's go into properties on this sheet. Still in 3rd angle. Okay. Let's go back into my tab palette. Let's start with the front view. That might be a little bit more appropriate, but I noticed that my scale was off before, so it's nothing wrong with going in and undoing and redoing. Let's change the scale on those properties. Let's just go in there and do a 1:1 scale for this. So still able to make changes on the fly, which is one of the nice things about working in parametric software. Let's grab the front view, and there's my front view. And I can project up to the top, and I can project over, and there is my right side view, and all my views are now on my sheet. Again, I can probably want to show hidden lines here since these are working drawings. So let's go ahead and check off this. Let's go here, and let's make that show hidden lines. And show hidden lines. There's the whole lines. There's my lines across there. So now my drawing's ready to go. I can move my views and they will stay in alignment, so that I can position things appropriately for what I'm working on. And I can go in and begin doing my dimensioning. And it's just a matter of doing some smart dimensions. I want to share my dimensions between the views. And keep in mind, keep enough room for titles to be involved. I want to place that. I probably want to show a size for my holes, for my bolts. And again, we'll not then do the whole sheet here, but to get you started, I probably want to note on there that there are 4 of these. So we'll put a 4x on that. and maybe a little hyphen in there to separate it just a little bit. And that's kind of a subjective thing. And that's a 3/4 inch hole that's occurred there. So that's our size. It happens 4 times. Let's do a location. So we're going to do, let's select off of that. We've got to finish editing that out. So let me hit the green check mark on that dimension. Go back into my smart dimensions. Let's go from the edge to a center point. And circles can be a little tricky on these. So let's get up in there just a little bit. And go from that point to that point. It's not that quite like me to do that. So we've got to do some changings on here as we do that. One of the things that you can do is notice these center lines are on there. They're kind of tricky to do the dimensioning to. So I'm just going to put an auto dimension on that. A little smart dimension here. And I want to locate those positions for each of those center marks as you go through. So when you're dimensioning this out, make sure you get all the size dimensions. In this case, we need those from one side to the next. So we get that thing. Oh, look at what I've done. There's a conflict here with that leader and this dimension. So I do need to move that so it's easier to read and put that up and out of the road. So we don't want dimensions being confused. Leader lines can cross over extension lines if they need to. You can also pull them down inside here so it's a little less obtrusive. But look at the readability of it as you're working on those, as you dimension things. Let's see if I can get that dimensioning to work here on this side over here. And there we have the value there. Excellent. So that's going to come in. We can put that. And that gets us this way. So let's go from this value to this value. Oh, he doesn't know how to do that side. There we go. Maybe. Nope. It's doing an auto on there, so we've got to kind of fight it just a little bit. Let's get the lines again. There we go. Takes a little bit of patience sometimes to get those values in. So now we have those. And again, because it's going to happen 4 times, we definitely want to come in and edit our dimension so that we don't do redundant dimensioning. And so we want to show it only the one place. And again, let's clean it up so it's easier to read. And I have my dimensions set to always be in horizontal. I do have some other values in here that I probably want to work in as far as the spacings go. We do have a radius that's going to occur at each of these points. And so because I'm dealing with a circle hole here, let's go and put it over here. And that has a radius of 0.5. And again, that also occurs at 4 locations. So put that in. And we have that dimension placed. And let's do a string of dimensions. Let me pull this one down just a little bit. And it's going to fight me on that one just a little bit there. I have to do a little bit more. So let's go from this line to this line. We'll place that. And then we'll do from here to here and line that up. And then we'll probably leave this value here blank and let the math work out for that machining aspect of it. Again, I'm not going to do the other views, but let's put a little note because we're doing a title. Let's pop that down below. I want my font to be at 0.2 in height, so we can get in there. I'm switching to my font style that we're using for your class here, and let's go with there. And I want this to be in all caps always. So this is my top view. And so I'll label that top view. And maybe to beef it up just a little bit, let's put a bold on there. And then we'll check that off. And we have a label for our view. You would continue this now for each of your sheets, doing your views. You may decide to come in and bring an isometric in so it has relationship. You may put it in color if you choose. But this way we have our values for our sheets. So this will be our sheet, and we'd have now 5 more sheets to create. Go ahead and dimension properly all the parts to your assembly, and we will see you in the next module.